It was a vision of the coming utopia, now that the Red Menace had gone. Here's what he said. Until now, the world we've known has been a world divided. A world of barbed wire and concrete block, conflict and cold war. Now we can see a new world coming into view. A world in which there is the very real prospect of a new world order. In the words of Winston Churchill, a world order in which the principles of justice and fair play protect the weak against the strong. A world where the United Nations, freed from Cold War stalemate, is poised to fulfill the historic vision of its founders. A world in which freedom and respect for human rights finds a home among all nations. It seemed to many that Bush was ushering in a new phase of the New World Order plot. Many saw it as oversimplified. Many conspiracy theorists were shocked, and Christians thought he was announcing the end times. Most saw it as a shift of power away from the US and other sovereign states to the UN, a new world government with hands across the world and in the pockets of most of us. Throughout the 1990s, more and more information leaked out to the masses. We discovered a secret group meeting of the most powerful people on the planet. Business leaders, billionaires, religious leaders, politicians, powerful civil servants. Regardless of race or creed, they came together at a small hotel in Bilderberg in the Netherlands and became known as the Bilderberg Group. This is the official statement from the group. Founded in 1954, Bilderberg is an annual conference designed to foster dialogue between Europe and North America. Every year, between 120 and 150 political leaders and experts from industry, finance, academia, and the media are invited to take part in the conference. About 2/3 of the participants come from Europe, and the rest from North America. 1/3 from politics and government, and the rest from other fields. The conference is a forum for informal discussions about megatrends and major issues facing the world. The meetings are held under the Chatham House Rule, which states that participants are free to use the information received, but neither the identity nor the affiliation of the speakers, nor of any of the participants, may be revealed. Thanks to the private nature of the conference, the participants are not bound by the conventions of their office or by pre-agreed positions. As such, they can take time to listen, reflect, and gather insights. There is no detailed agenda, no resolutions are proposed, no votes are taken, and no policy statements are issued. There is no detailed agenda. We are supposed to accept this, that highly educated and powerful men come together from across the world with no agenda. The meetings are secret. Elected and unelected behind closed doors and decide on what happens next. People that run international billion-dollar companies come and influence the politics of the world. What gives them the right? Do we really believe that what is being discussed and decided upon is for the good of all mankind? And this is what we know, and we only know because we discovered it. Had the meetings not been uncovered, then it would still be a secret. What else do we not know? Add on to this one simple annual meeting all the other elements pointed at by conspiracy theorists. power and influence of Wall Street, the Federal Reserve System, the Council on Foreign Relations, called by some the Shadow Government, and of course, the Trilateral Commission. Again, like the Bilderberg Group, the Trilateral Commission is a meeting of powerful minds. Here's what their website says. The Commission was originally created in 1973 to bring together experienced leaders within the private sector to discuss issues of global concern at a time when communication and cooperation between Europe, North America, and Asia were lacking. The Commission has grown since its early days to include members from more countries in these regions, and it continues to find that study and dialogue about the pressing problems facing our planet remain as important today as in 1973. Problems and threats have changed, but their importance has only increased due to the more interconnected and interdependent world in which we now live. Interconnected and interdependent world in which we now live. On the face of it, that's nice, but the reality has not brought us a safer world. Terrorism, war, disease, hunger, genocide, and more are still rife. Divisions between cultures widen and are fostered. And yet, global business sells arms, medical supplies, engineering, and more to all sides, supplied by the very same people who run and own the multinational companies and governments that also meet secretly behind closed doors. They feed us lies and deal with each other. We are being controlled and manipulated. Our eyes are diverted with one news item after another. An atrocity is caused, blame is assigned, arms budgets increase, and a new or re-envisaged old enemy created. While we point fingers at the Russians, we trade with them. While we point fingers at Islam, we undermine their cultures with covert CIA and Secret Service operations. Gaddafi, Saddam Hussein, Osama bin Laden, and more were all pawns of the secret services. Educated, paid for, and placed into power by the West. It is a process that has been going on for centuries. Useful pawns while the sun shines, and useful pawns in a blame game that fosters arms sales and a deeper, more interconnected set of regulations for the world powers. Bringing closer and closer the new world government all the time. Today, the internet is full of conspiracy theories. From the Kennedy assassination to 9/11. Just as those in power foster the talk of little green men in the world of UFOlogy, they leave the conspiracy world to its own devices as crank after crank draws conclusions that are then mocked in mass media. A backlash to the Hollywood films created to mock and simplify the world of conspiracy has been in fact to widen the audience. More and more people run off to search out the truth, whatever that is. When the Da Vinci Code was published, the world asked, did Jesus have a child? A blockbuster followed, and more people started to question. A fake secret society, first brought to light in another book, was used by Dan Brown as the powerful cabal that covered up and protected the secret. The Priory of Sion had already been shown to have no real basis in reality, and was in fact grown out of the mind of a few egotistical French men. An order that protects a secret bloodline has links into royalty and church, has powerful political members and great thinkers. In truth, there is such a society, and one that in fact had mostly the same great masters. It was known about by the original authors who were friends with that Grand Master, and who altered the facts slightly in order not to upset them. They exist to this day. They do have royal patronage, political members, movie stars and more. They meet at an extremely grand location in Cambridge that I have visited with them. Their ceremonies hark back in time to a medieval age, with robes and swords and arcane phrases. And they do seek out the child of Jesus in the hope of fulfilling a grand design. During my time with these people, I had to pinch myself, because it was like being in a Hollywood movie. A turn of the head, and I was introduced to some extremely famous people. And yet, I could not find the will within me to join in, to be part of the secret world, and so I parted company. There can be no denying that across the world very powerful people are controlling things. We can create names, change things a little, point fingers, but the facts are simple. They are too powerful to mess with for an ordinary person. Black Ops, ancient martial religious orders with power in the UN. MK Ultra cover-ups of medical testing on citizens. CIA intrigue, assassinations, and so much more prove beyond all doubt that the world is not as we perceive. The term New World Order has not gone away. Only recently, British and American politicians have freely used the term to help us understand the need to avert another financial disaster that they created. That disaster strengthened the need for a yet more integrated financial system in the world, even if it is with the people we are told are our enemies. A new world is emerging. India, China, and South American countries are growing fast, and the elite need to be embedded. They have succeeded, with bankers and business rushing in to solidify unity across cultures. A burger in Beijing tastes the same as a burger in New York. The word is now out. The world knows something is happening behind the scenes. More and more people are aware. More and more questions are asked of the so-called independent news we are fed. When a plane goes missing or is shot down, the people ask, who really did that? Popular entertainers, musicians, and even talk show hosts are forming anti-elitist friendships and pointing fingers. But there always remains one big question. What is the real purpose of this massive conspiracy, if it truly exists? To many Christians, the conspiracy is an evil plot by Satanists to bring about the end time. We are living in the last days, they say. Those people who are controlling us do so because they made a deal with the devil, sold their souls for power. They will promise us a utopian world, or they plan to bring their satanic empire on Earth. They have their own trinity, Satan, the Antichrist, and the false prophet. Numerous people have had the finger pointed at them for all or one of these, and as they die, a new name is chosen. It goes on and on. A fantasy world of religious nonsense. People who are tied and yoked to a fairy tale story, creating yet more fairy tale stories. The biggest organization picked on by all conspiracy theorists is, of course, the Freemasons. It began in around the 16th century in England, the home of so many origins. It is an organization that has secrets, and yet the membership is fairly open. A great many people in power have been members, but so too have many who are not. To the outside world, its symbols and ways are strange and arcane. There are multiple layers. On the one hand, the symbols speak of a great work upon the individual, to make that person more pure and holy. To fundamentalist Christians, they worship Lucifer and hold no particular religion. In truth, they accept all religions into their fold. But a man must believe in God of some form. This is an all-inclusive club in that respect, and it crosses religious and political boundaries. No wonder that people have pointed at it as the origin of the grand cabal that rules the world. The original accusations that the Freemasons covertly brought about revolutions in many countries is in truth a fact. There is no denying that the French, American, and Spanish revolutions and civil wars were fostered by Freemasonic workings. This in turn fostered anti-Freemasonry, especially in the USA. It is postulated that their ideals of bringing a new Jerusalem upon the world made them include their own symbolism in the ground plans of the cities in the US. Washington, D.C. is awash with Masonic symbolism. And yet, any group of people with symbols use them and spread them. It does not mean that they are running the world. In general, the Masons do a lot of work. Yes, they conspire with each other, as all men do. Yes, they have placed their mark forcefully upon history. But they also do a lot of charitable work, and the vast majority of them are ordinary people looking for a home and self-improvement. It is a society that mirrors evolution, the strongest of the species working together for survival. They claim they promote rationalism in a world of irrationalists. They claim there is no real power in those occult symbols, and that they use them for purposes of tradition and self-growth. The Latin phrase Novus Ordo Seclorum, which appears on the Great Seal of the USA and the dollar bill, actually means New Order of the Ages, and not New World Order. They say it speaks of the New World of America, a new independent state, free of the bounds of old Europe. They also say that they have no intention of rebuilding the Temple of Solomon, because it is there for symbolic purposes. I myself have met many Freemasons, some powerful, others not. I have never yet looked at one and thought to myself, yes, you're an evil, power-hungry monster. The ones I have met have been more interested in the process of self-improvement, of meeting like-minded friends, and of course, helping them get ahead in business. It is such a vast organization that almost anything you want to throw at them will find a home. Accuse them of political intrigue and you will find it, because a great many politicians are members. But this is not the secret cabal we are seeking. This is a club of men used for many purposes, and like any other institution, it is used occasionally by those in real power. The same can be said of a political party, religious group, or trade union. Inextricably linked to the Freemasons